Thank you, Ms. Jessica.
Excuse me.
Run a little test on that microphone, so it might be a little shocking. Good morning. Ready, Mr. Chairman? When it is time.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to call up to order the Isabel County Criminal Justice County Affairs Committee. At this time, is there any additions to the agenda that needs to be presented? Okay, seeing none, we will proceed with the agenda as we have presented it. First up is a call to the public. I see no one in the room. Is there anybody on the phone or online?
There is not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, there will be another opportunity at the end, so we will move on. Okay, first up on the agenda is consider approving the board chair to sign the profile GovO's proposal for imaging preservation of the Register of Deeds, current hardbound tract index books, and the implementation of the Quick Link Light Access Solution for Isabel County Historical Land Records, and authorize the board chair to sign the budget amendment 2022 through 08-08. Okay, we have with us Karen Jackson, registered.
So basically what we're asking is we have some of these books that are called the tract index books, and we do charge for the tract index when someone comes in and searches it. Of course, we haven't had anybody in searching these books lately. The majority of the people who want these old books, these are before the computer. The majority of the people that want this information, sometimes the title company will, but the majority of them are, they do it for the wind leases, for oil and gas leases, because the mortgage can, the old Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac's reserved minerals. And so you took out a mortgage with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, but if you sold the property within a certain amount of time, then the government got your mineral rights. Government doesn't have to renew the mineral rights, so that's why the oil and gas companies have to come in to search. They even have to have the mortgages and go through all of those documents, because if someone sold their property, the government got those minerals, they might continue to sign leases. And a lot of the lease companies will have you sign a lease even if they know you don't have any interest in the minerals. They're not going to give you much, but they're going to continue to have you do that because they want that. Essentially, it's kind of like an insurance policy to them, because that covers them. But they need to know who does own those minerals. And so they go back through. Also, we have a lot of people doing genealogy. A lot of them haven't been in the office because quite frequently they're older people who are interested in doing that, and they're not coming into places, public places right now. So by us doing this project, putting it out there, they would be able to do their research in the comfort of their own home, not have to be exposed to anybody else. Helps the oil and gas companies. A lot of these oil and gas companies, we do have a couple of people who are local, who come in and do oil and gas searches, but the majority of them are from Traverse City, Tennessee, Texas, you name it. Now that we have so many records online, a lot of them are able to do that. There's an additional charge for them to do that, because we charge $1.20 a page online. But as I've talked to several of them, it's like, okay, so figure your gas. You want to send somebody from Texas, put them in a hotel, or do you want to pay $1.20 a page? All of a sudden, $1.20 a page is much more palatable. They see the logic in that, and it saves a lot of their resources. They don't have there are people here, they can work on more than one project. When one project comes to a close, they just continue to work on the next one. So it ends up being quite fruitful for them too. One of the issues that we had when we started looking into this project, our books years ago, what they did, because that's what was advised. They didn't make a bad decision at the time. They made a good decision based on the information they had. They laminated the books so that you could continue using them without people's handprints and things destroying the books. Unfortunately, that's the worst thing you can do to to one of these books. Part of the project, they have a way of removing the lamination. They're already aware of the fact that because over the years, we found numerous corrections that needed to be made. Obviously, once it's laminated, there was a spot here where somebody put a line through it, so that's not correct. So in their process, they're taking a picture of the pages prior to removing the lamination. Because you can't do anything, you can't take a good picture with something that has lamination on it. Obviously, all you're going to get is glare, you're going to have a very distorted picture. So they will go through all of the pages, they take a picture, they essentially superimpose whatever corrections that we've made. So if we've made something, a correction with a permanent marker on one of the books, that's going to appear on that original once they have it scanned. The good part is over the years, the lamination will destroy the ink on the pages, and it won't be able to, they won't be able to remove that lamination because it'll remove the ink. At this point, we are still good. The company will pick up all of our books. They will take them to Texas. We do have a microfilm backup. We did try, we sent the microfilm to them. They looked the microfilm over. I kind of, because I used to microfilm way back in the day in that little teeny closet over there with chemicals and a hot water heater over your head. But one of the issues when I went through the film, the images weren't horrible. They weren't great, but they weren't horrible. The problem was I could tell the film was brittle. And so that makes it kind of a bad prospect when they try to put that in a machine and make an image off of the film. When the film's brittle, there's too great a chance that the film's going to break, it's going to shatter, it's not going to be a good product in the end. The other issue with the film is because the books are laminated and we know we will lose them at some point. In our world, lost is lost. There's never a way to bring it back. And so we have a company that can essentially bring those back. If we need the information, we do have it on the film. Last year, we purchased a reader. We are able to put that film on that reader. We would be able to make a copy, let someone come in and view that section of the tract if they wanted, or they could view it on the screen. But we're not taking any opportunity away from someone. They will still have that same opportunity when the books are gone. But this allows them that, allows us that comfort of having that forever, because in our world, everything has to be kept forever.
Okay, a couple questions that are actually a statement, but anyways, yeah. Here's, when you had everything, were these in the vault at one time?
We've never had a vault in Isabella County.
Well, where there was.
I correct you. It is a
I'm
book room
corrected as
with
book room.
sprinklers above, which is the worst situation you could ever have. But it was in the book room.
Did we lose any of the books? Because one time there was flooding in there or some issues.
We didn't lose any of the books.
Okay.
Our staff at the time, when they came in, Rick was aware of the problem. The guys built like a tent around a garbage can, and they visqueened it all the way around. They physically moved, because our books are now in plywood shelving, which is raw plywood and you shouldn't put books in. But they moved those shelves far enough away that we ended up with nothing being damaged. We had a spot on the floor. We kept the door open for a while. We had fans on it blowing, dried that up, but we did not lose anything. It was amazing. They did an amazing job. They asked me if I wanted to be in there when they did it, and I'm like, no. No, I trust you guys, but no, I don't want to,
Okay.
I don't want to see that.
I know that's been a concern about the security of them.
Right. We do have, all of them are imaged at this point. So all of the books we have are imaged. The tracked books are not imaged. We do have that backup microfilm, which is not in good shape. This project would finish that. It would really help Isabella with the liability of that book room, because it is not a vault. And in my world, I fully realize there is no way in this building that we can financially build a vault. Yes, are we supposed to have a vault? Yes, we're supposed to have a vault. Is that financial feasibility? No, it's not. Why would we take all of those resources? No matter what we do, there's nothing that can replace these, and we hope we never lose the actual books. But having that backup helps the liability of the county, because if something does happen, we do have a backup. It's not like there are counties that years ago lost all their books in a fire or all their books in a flood. At that point, how do you prove who owns the property and where's your chain of title?
I was kind of hoping that we send the books to Texas and never have to get them back.
Well,
No, you don't know what the chaos that.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we're recording them.
Yeah, they are on,
we will
yeah.
have permanent images of the books. The reason there are a lot of people, basically, we have to follow state rules. The documents that we take in today, we image, we scan those documents into the system. State rules still require that I pay for microfilm backup on every single image that I take in. We have to have a backup of, essentially, we have to have a backup of our indexes that are on the computer. Any of these indexes, our backup was, like I said, that microfilm not in good shape. We will lose these if we don't have something done with them. That microfilm at some point will not be usable at all anyway. It's really kind of iffy at this point, something that you'd have to be very careful and cautious trying to move or advance. If you've ever seen some of the microfilm machines, things will whiz by at lightning speed. You can't do that with this type of microfilm. This probably would involve us which, as you see, I do this because I've done that. I did that for a lot of years. You hand wind the microfilm on the rolls. That's something that we would have to do with these, because that microfilm is too brittle to just run it through a regular machine, which is why the company didn't propose us using that.
Do you have any more questions on this? No. I do have a statement. You brought up you always have to be careful of strangers bearing gifts. So when you brought up the Freddie Mae, the mineral rights,
Yes.
and of course, Freddie and Fannie were government-sponsored enterprises for a while, and the government took them over. But a lot of the time, some of these contracts or some of the small print and some of these programs, I always warn people, especially farmers, to watch, because land is basically a lot of their retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some problems, and even like taking Medicaid, is that you could lose your property if you read the small print. So I always caution these people, and the mineral rights most of the time are not a lot. They could be at some time. So if they're still holding on to them and not having that revert back to the original landowner has always been a pet peeve of mine, and I will
Well, and they
proselytize on.
don't do it now, but they used to do it.
Yes, when there was a GSE.
And so,
Once they went full government control of the Freddie and Fannie, that's, I think, when they switched.
but once the government had it, they never released it because they don't have to, because
Yes.
they're the government and they don't have to renew minerals like everybody else. And so, I mean, it's just kind of a,
But the GSEs are like the credit unions and everything. They're kind of memo-owned and everything, like farm credit and a few other things. But and I think they did release a lot of those after the term of the loan was up, but now they don't. So anyways,
the
enough. I
small
just had to
print-
take an
Yeah, the
opportunity.
small print will get you every time right now. I think our association is gonna have to battle a company out of Florida who is right now seems to be preying on a lot of people in Michigan. I found that we had one agreement that was recorded. It's essentially they call it a right to sell, but they say that it's a homeowner's benefit program. So they offer you somewhere between $500 and $5,000 to sign with them. And that's all you have to do. You're just signing an agreement that when you list your property, you will list with them. But it's a 40-year agreement and it goes with the property. So if something happens to you, your relatives cannot sell that themselves. They cannot. It's like a crazy thing. People think it's a great, they're paying me this much money. Some of them, I got $1,500 just for signing this agreement. And unfortunately, then they find out that it wasn't that great of a deal because they're now locked in with this company. They can't sell with anybody else.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a 40-year lien on their property.
Maybe you have a family member would like to have that, buy that property, or
If you do sell it,
can't do
Mhm.
it.
you get to pay them 3% of whatever they say that property's worth at that point.
Okay, I just had to throw that in there. It's one of those, you hit a hot button.
It's like,
for me.
it's like,
So-
ooh. But for this project, it's a two-piece. Not only are we getting this, the second part is those indexes will be through something called the Quick Link. They will be online for people to access those. So they will be able to get their copies right online, not have to come into our office. Anybody can view them. It will further keep people, not that we don't want people to ever come in, but I think we have to look at what is the future of our industry. The future is people want that easy access. They want to be able to do it from home. It behooves us to give that to them when we can, because that frees up space in our office. We did a project or a kind of an exemption back when Margaret was still here in the beginning of the pandemic. Our copies were $1.20 online. They're $1 in the office. Margaret allowed me to give those people who already had an account in-house the ability to print those online, and we wrote off that 20 cents per page. We actually found that we more than made up for it, and that was before toner and paper went sky high. The difference, they're printing it on their paper with their toner. When we print it, it's our people printing it on our paper and our toner. So it takes a lot of our resources. Them doing that online didn't take those resources. So that worked out really great for us. So I think, any of these things, we still have, we have a few people who still have bulk copies that they get. They are now paying $1.20 because we converted them back over, but they were on that $1 a page for long enough for them to see that it didn't pay them to drive here for 20 cents a page. It's time wise, it's also gas. those types of things. They're still at their home. They're able to do other things while they're there. So I think we pretty much converted everybody, the ones that have bulk copies. So if they're going to get, and we have some that get maybe 2,000 copies a month, we will still make those for them. We're not asking them. They do have to come in and pick them up, but we still will make those for them so that they don't have to come in themselves and, you know, go through all of that.
Great. Any more questions? If not, Commissioner Sweeney.
All right. Move to consider approving board chair to sign the COFAL Gov OS proposal for imaging preservation of Register of Deeds, current hardbound track index books, and implementation of quick link light access solutions for Isabella County's historical land records. Yeah. Go forward.
I will support that. Move and support it. We'll move this forward to the work session. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The motion has passed, and we will move this forward to the work session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the info.
No problem. Like I said, we're across the hall. Open anytime you guys want to come on over and see any of our stuff. We're always open. Everything's open to the public.
Am I gonna get a bill now that I opened up the book and looked at it?
The track book, no.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Don't drop that book on your toes.
Oh, man. Okay, moving on to the next item is consider approving the information sharing access agreement, the ISAA, between the Department of Homeland Security, Federal Emergency Management Agency, the DHS, FEMA, and Isabella County for the purposes of updating the Isabella County Hazard Mitigation Plan and authorize the board chair to sign the same. And we do have Mr. Griffith up on the monitor, so it's all yours.
Good morning, commissioners. This is another step in our hazard mitigation plan update with our contractor. We need to request this information, have this agreement in place for it to be released to us. It's a national flood insurance policy information, helps them write a better hazard mitigation plan for us. It's been reviewed by our legal counsel, and there's no cost for this agreement. So just part of the process that we go through in updating our hazard mitigation plan, which we need to have to also access money after the fact of a disaster and projects and stuff.
Agreements for 3 years. Do you every 3 years, or you have to redo it, or after 3 years you don't do it anymore, or how's that?
We will probably have to redo this agreement in total of 5 years. We're updating the plan every 5 years. But this gives us the access to it for the time period that they need to possibly update this time, the plan.
Okay, I don't have any questions. Any other questions?
Nope. All right. Move to bring forward to the work session the information sharing access agreement between the Department of Homeland Security, Federal Emergency Management Agency, and Isabella County for the purpose of updating Isabella County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
And I will support that. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, we will vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The motion has passed, and we will move this forward to the work session.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Quick and easy. Okay, next up is consider approving the grant agreement regarding the Animal Welfare Fund between the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development and Isabella County Animal Control in the amount of $5,237 and authorize the board chair to sign the same. And who we have with this?
We have Executive Director of the HATS organization, Amanda Tillotson, joining us on Zoom.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Would you like me to speak a little bit about this?
Floor is all yours, yes.
Okay. Well, I assume you received my memo, but each year HATS applies for the MDARD Animal Welfare Fund grant. We apply through Isabella County because this grant is only available to municipal shelters. And previously, we've been awarded the grant for spay and neuter, amongst other things. And this year, they have several categories, but we applied for their marketing grant, which will allow us to promote sterilization of animals, as well as adoption of animals too. But our focus will be on purchasing billboard space around Isabella County to promote spay and neuter at the health clinic here that we have right at the shelter, where we provide low-cost spay and neuter. And we might throw in a couple billboards as well that promote the adoption of pets also. And with the amount of the grant that they awarded, we had originally applied for a full year of billboards, but due to their available funding, we didn't receive the full amount, but this will allow us for 32 weeks worth of billboards, as well as some print materials that we were going to order from Vistaprint, which would be door hangers that we could put in areas of the community that we see the most issues with a lot of outdoor cat populations and areas that we would really like to know that our services are available here at our spay and neuter clinic. Do you have any questions?
Not on this grant, but I'm kind of curious that now that things are getting somewhat back to normal as far as the pandemic and everything, are you seeing an increase of animals coming to the shelter, or is it about the same? Or I know a lot of people were depending a lot on their pets when they were shut in, so.
Yes, we're starting to see things creep back up to pre-pandemic levels. We definitely saw a pretty good dip in intakes when COVID started, and that carried on through 2021. But I would say this spring, we're starting to see the spike again, and nationally, shelters are really seeing a spike across the board. But we notice it the most in our dog department. Cats usually are pretty steady every year just because they can reproduce so rapidly, but we're noticing a pretty good spike in stray dogs again this spring.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions?
I have
Yes.
a question. When is your spay and neuter clinic?
So we have a spay and neuter clinic built onto the shelter that was added here in 2013. And we have a veterinarian on staff that is here typically 3 days a week, year round for surgery. So we have surgery days every single week. We do surgeries for the shelter animals to spay and neuter them prior to adoption, as well as low cost spay and neuter for the public.
Great.
Okay, any more questions?
All right, I'll make a motion, move forward the grant approval regarding the Animal Welfare Fund between Michigan Department of Agriculture and the Rural Development and Isabella County Animal Control in the amount of $5,237.
And I will support that. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The motion has passed, and we will move that forward to the work session. And thank you, Executive Director Tilson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Okay, last up and is consider approving the Terry L. Turnwald Trust Farmland Agreement application and instruct the Isabella County Clerk to forward the application, approved application to the MDA Farmland and Open Space Program. As always, we check for clerical errors and make sure that the agreement is properly submitted, and I did not see any issues. Did anybody else?
I didn't see any issues. All check boxed.
Great. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Well, then I will make the motion, move forward this Terry L. Turnwald Trust Farmland Agreement application and instruct the Isabella County Clerk to forward the approved application to the MD Farmland and Open Space Program.
I will support that. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. The motion has passed and we will move this forward to the work session. That brings us to the end of the agenda items and we will have a call to the public. Do not see anybody sitting in our physical room. Is there anybody online or on the phone?
There is not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, seeing none, I will call the meeting to the end for an adjournment. Thank you.